Please subscribe, like, and share.
The National Health Insurance, which has seen a lot of improvement lately, the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty Program, the LEAP program, which has also received a lot of expansion and coverage in the last 2 years. And then also, we have so many of that, all to ensure that the children are guaranteed the basic right to some of these services. But even though these have resulted in remarkable reduction in poverty over the past decade, the momentum of poverty, as I indicated, is slowing down, and inequality is gradually picking up. According to the 2017 Ghana Living Standards Survey, and if I'm wrong, then it means that Combat is wrong. 6.8 million people were identified as living in poverty, and with about a quarter of them being children. The poverty during childhood can have a long-term consequence on children because it affects you physically. It also has effect on some of the cognitive and emotional elements of your development. It affects the health and even the economic status of children. And this becomes even more practical when you look at it against the background of many disadvantaged children in Ghana. I always say it because I grew up in the rural area. And the first time I saw a water closet and used one was when I got to secondary school. Today it's a very common thing. You go to every house and you see it there. But this was quite significant when I saw something white and not a public one for me to use. And these are some of the things which have been captured here. The chairperson just mentioned that people go for water before they go to school. Not that alone. Sometimes you have to sweep, go and throw out the rubbish, and sometimes about half a kilometer away and you have to walk. Come back, fetch water for your parents, and if you have senior siblings, you ought to do that before you fetch for yourself. Have your bath. And when you are getting to school, you're already 15 minutes late, so you are running. You don't tuck in your shirt, and when you get there, the first thing is that the teacher will spot it. You haven't tucked in your shirt. Sometimes you receive some lashes. So before you get to the room for teaching, you're already confused, and the confidence gone. And these are things that many children went through. And I'm sure there are still some children who are going through. One thing they've taken away now are the lashes that we used to receive. And we're glad these things were taken away. But these are some of the disadvantages we experience every day. And that is why the National Development Planning Commission, ably supported by UNICEF, and also the Ghana Statistical Service, decided to carry out these analysis of multi-dimensional poverty.
It's a step for the country and our duty bearers to know how much we are doing to support the proper development of children. Significantly, this launch is coming after Ghana had marked 30 years of being part of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, and also after reviewing our progress after 25 years of the International Conference on Population and Development, ICPD. Importantly, when all these came into being, I was not born. But whatever that was agreed upon affects me now, more so as they feed into our realization of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. All things being equal, by the final year of the SDGs, the 12-year-old you see today will not be a child. I will be looking forward to being a productive citizen. For us all, the question will be, how are we being prepared now for that time? The future we want to see is how we prepare and also invest today. Yes, the future is now. Children as we are remain the resource for our development and have been made to understand that resources are not, but they become. What we do now is what will determine the type of resources we are talking about. This is why I'm happy to note how we are monitoring what is being done now. It shows where we need to focus and importantly brings to the fore once again the commitment world leaders made to children at the World Summit for Children in 1990. Over there, the leaders promised to give us a first call on resources as children. There is no better investment statement than this. The big question is, how are we doing as a country? Maybe we can say so much is being done, but like our teachers regularly write on our reports, there is more room for improvement. As I was allowed to take a quick look at some portions of the report, I was sure of one thing. Many children will not know about what is described as multiple overlapping deprivation analysis. More will not be aware of monetary poverty approach. A lot more children will not have heard of MIX or the Living Standard Survey. Yet, they are all aware that we as children have needs and concerned duty bearers have a responsibility to help us meet those needs. We need facilities that will help us to learn and develop. Access to clean water and sanitation is vital. We should not toy with child protection issues, and violence in all its forms should not be allowed. Therefore, the child poverty issues are real, even though we do not want to be caught up in all the technical terms. Our needs may differ based on where we come from, and it calls for measures that take this into consideration. Even in the light of challenges, the will to invest in us as the future can make a real difference. It will show with how much we, as children, are allocated in the country's budget and how and when the funds allocated are released. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage our parents and caregivers. It's sad to note that some do not take advantage of available opportunities for children, and they suffer as a result. Where there are vaccination campaigns, please allow children to benefit. No child should suffer from a condition that is preventable. In addition, I want to raise the point once again that as children, we have a right to leisure. Can we take another look at the state of our children parks? They deserve so much attention in our best interests. All rights should apply to all children, and child poverty should not work against our development. We have entered what is called a decade of action. Let us be counted as a society that did not lose a single day in working for children. We want to be one that through our priorities showed that we consciously invested in children, our collective future. Together with my colleagues in Curious Minds, we will continue with the advocacy to get children's voices heard as our input. Let me thank once again NDPC, UNICEF, and all related agencies for putting the report together. When all is said and done, we want all these efforts to work in the best interest of all children.
Your Excellency, First Lady of the Republic of Ghana, I would like to thank you especially for your presence today, your strong commitment and your achievements in improving the lives of women and children in the country. For many years, as a founding member and chairperson of the charity London Malaria Prevention Foundation, we have supported the national efforts to reduce malaria infections in infants and young children. As the executive director of the Rebecca Foundation, you work tirelessly to also improve the economic status of women to enhance literacy enhancing environmental health and sanitation. You're involved in neonatal maternal health, and the list goes on. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your commitment. UNICEF also congratulates the National Development Planning Commission and the Ghana Statistical Service, as well as experts from the Social Policy Research Institute for this commendable initiative to develop a report looking at child poverty and all its dimensions. We have been collecting and analyzing a lot of data related to children, and we anticipate this particular report to be a useful source of data and evidence for advocacy and policy making. It will serve as a reference for many sectors in Ghana. Now, as mentioned in the recent report of the UN Secretary General on development cooperation in middle-income countries, children living in poverty are more likely to feel like a failure and have a sense of hopelessness about their future more than the affluent peers. Poverty, we know, have a devastating impact on children's life and can lead to children missing out on very important activities, such as decent meals, sleeping in comfortable rooms, being bullied at schools and at home, as well as drastically reducing their future life chances. It's for this reason that as a ministry, we take seriously the reports being launched today. They give us an indication that children are not as well as we think they are in this country. A lot has been done by governments to ensure that poverty is reduced, but a lot more needs to be done. We acknowledge as a ministry of doing our part in the implementation of social protection interventions and its coordination to ensure that children, especially vulnerable ones, benefit from such interventions. For example, now we have 407,620 orphans and vulnerable children and infants benefiting under the DARES program. Our school feeding program is feeding almost 2.7 children daily with hot, nutritious meals every school going day. We acknowledge that the expansion of these programs are critical, and we will work with the necessary partners to ensure that these programs are expanded to reach more children and to ensure the most vulnerable ones are targeted to benefit first.
My dear children, media practitioners, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor to be asked to deliver the keynote address for the launch of Ghana's multidimensional child poverty report. As you may well be aware, I am and would continue to be extremely passionate about the welfare of our children. If we have to lay the foundation for developing skilled, productive, and responsible citizens for the future of our country, we need to be unapologetically passionate and committed to child welfare. We need to deal with inequality from its root. Every child deserves to have access to good nurturing, nutrition, health, education, water, sanitation, and general well-being. These are all critical building blocks for child development, without which we cannot derive the expected dividend in our human development. Madam Chair, before I delve into the details of this report, I would like to commend the National Development Planning Commission, the Ghana Statistical Service, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and UNICEF for undertaking this child poverty analysis. Ghana has long identified child poverty as a problem. Today, we have finally provided the empirical basis to generate meaningful discussions and solutions to child poverty. Madam Chair, the multidimensional child poverty report is important in several respects. It provides the foundation for discussing child poverty, which I'm sorry to say has not received enough policy attention in our national conversations on poverty and inequalities. Again, by focusing on the multiple dimensions of poverty, including its spatial distribution, the report provides the opportunity for more precise sector-specific interventions, as well as a baseline for measuring future progress. Additionally, this report offers a fundamental shift from focusing mainly on the vulnerability and exclusion dimension of child poverty and puts the spotlight on access to services critical for total and holistic child development. Even though the report highlights deprivation in the areas of health, child protection, learning and development, water, sanitation and housing, I am particularly happy that it also focuses on child malnutrition, an area I have been championing at both local and continental levels. Investing in nutrition is the foundation for the development of a child's cognitive abilities, which in turn determines their learning outcomes, income, and health status as adults. It is the most single critical investment which has long-term impacts on a child's long-term development. Madam Chair, the report highlights several conclusions, but I would like to focus on two key ones. The first is the need for multi-sectoral responses, and the second is enhanced multi-sectoral coordination that allows for more synergy in a national response to child poverty. While resources are important, and we will advocate for more funding where needed, we need a multi-sectoral action plan, effective coordination, and results framework. Adopting this approach will also provide the foundation for tracking the progress of our set target of reducing child poverty by half, from 73% to 37% by 2030. Business as usual will not get us there. Our policies must help give children and young people the best possible start to their lives and help them to develop and become productive adults. We must all consider the impact of policies and cultural and societal norms on children. Special intervention should be directed at struggling families beyond what is available now. We must identify and implement interventions that will alleviate and contribute to the eventual eradication of child poverty, break the cycle of intergenerational deprivation, and develop the capacity of children to make successful transitions to adulthood. Madam Chair, seeing all of you here gives me hope. There's no doubt in my mind that policymakers, practitioners, and other stakeholders would redouble their efforts to reduce child poverty in Ghana. The multi-dimensional child poverty report sheds light on the direction we all need to take. I am positive we will all re-engage as stakeholders to change the fortunes of the Ghanaian child as a foundation for a prosperous future for our dear nation. With these remarks, I declare Ghana's multi-dimensional child poverty report duly launched, and I thank you. Here we are.
That we are doing a lot in the country to address some of these issues. There are still many who are falling through the gaps and they are not basically being elevated out of poverty. So the report is a really important tool to help us to be able to try and see how we can address these children, especially those that were identified as being most affected, those in rural areas and those between the ages of 0 to 4. They are the ones who are most affected. So much more needs to be done by the various ministries, the departments, the agencies to be able to address these problems. And not just government level. As a report shows, even parents have a great role to play in all of this. And we hope that we can continue the deliberations so that we can see how we can best address this child poverty. Government will take up some of these recommendations, especially in terms of increased budgetary support, so that we can invest in our children, especially on issues when it came to sanitation. Sanitation was one of the biggest problems that the report highlighted. Many of our children were suffering from poor sanitation and poor access to water services. And therefore, we hope that government will continue its efforts and scale up the things that it is already doing to be able to provide the basic services for our children, especially when it comes to sanitation, water, and child protection issues.
So, on the countries that you made this research on, which country is the worst of?
As the report highlights, this is not the best thing to compare because every country uses its own definitions to define what the multidimensional child poverty is in Ghana, in their country. But in Ghana, the results show that Ghana, up to 73.4% of the children had significantly high levels of multidimensional child poverty. Other countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo also have quite significantly high rates. And other countries that have done such a study are not necessarily as bad off as Ghana, but that depends on the local situations. We can't always compare to other countries. The important thing is that a number of our children are affected, and we need to try and address their issues so that we can improve the situation.
You give 10 years, like 2030, it should be reduced to 37. If we don't get 2030, we don't get to that 37. What should be done?
Well, that is why we have the Sustainable Development Goals. Ghana has committed to achieving all the goals and the targets that are there. And a lot of work is being done. It requires the effort of not just governments, but all individuals to play a role so that we can all own this. This is not, at the end of the day, it is our children that are being affected. So we also need to do as much as possible. Government can support to a certain extent, but much more needs to be done by partners. Of course, if we reach 2030 and we haven't achieved the target of halving that poverty, more will be done to continue to be done so that we can reduce it as far as possible. So as few children will be affected by this multidimensional child.
My final question: we realize some of the countries you showed by graphs, by Ghana you give details of it. Why did you choose that trend?
Well, basically it's because we have the final details for Ghana. We were just comparing the overall results for the other countries, showing what their final results were. For Ghana, we were breaking it down so that we can identify the most affected age groups, also identify the most affected regions of the country.